This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, wrecking crews approach the halfway point, demolishing the former Cadbury factory. Cardrona ski field opens to the public, but not for skiing or snowboarding. And community leaders meet at Otako Marae to launch a new justice program for first-time low-level offenders. Tēnā koutou katoa, ngā o te ahi nei, kia ora. I'm Simon Anderson. In breaking news, Sir Ian Edgar, a Queenstown-based businessman and philanthropist, has died at aged 76. He had been fighting pancreatic cancer since late last year. A little over a month ago, Sir Ian was made a Distinguished Fellow by the Institute of Directors at a special ceremony in Queenstown. He was chairman of numerous charitable trusts, including the Edgar Olympic Foundation, New Zealand's Dementia Prevention Trust, and Winter Games New Zealand Charitable Trust. Sir Ian spent 20 years as the chairman of Forsyth Bar Group in Dunedin until his retirement in 2018. While it may not be very visible to the public from the outside, workers are almost halfway through demolishing Dunedin's former Cadbury factory. A number of diggers and cranes are hard at work clearing the site from the inside out, with archaeologists already gaining new details of the factory's history.
A team of about 20 staff from the Christchurch Demolition Company series are about halfway through levelling the disused Cadbury factory to make way for Dunedin's new $1.5 billion hospital. While archaeologists have not yet begun examining the ground underneath the already demolished parts of the former factory complex, they've already found a treasure trove of 16 books containing the business records of the original biscuit and confectionery firm that was founded by Richard Hudson in 1899.
It starts with Richard Hudson. It moves into the era of the Six Sons, which is, we'll probably know, it's well known as when his Six Sons took over. But then it moves into the when they joined forces with Cadbury and Fry's, overseas companies, and moves forward even as it moves towards becoming part of Schweppes. I think that's one of the last records in the book, it's in the 1980s.
Archaeologist Megan Lawrence says the books provide records and dates for events such as when the factory's horse stables were phased out and motor vehicles were purchased by the company, potentially giving new insights into a bygone era.
Some of them go through in chronological order, like this one starts at 1899 and moves forward from there, and the books overlap as well, and it's a really interesting study for someone to do in the future, to go through and do a really detailed analysis of what we can get out of these books.
While the complex's exterior walls are likely to be toppled in the next month and a half, the removal of the landmark Cadbury silos is set to take a little longer. So far, more than 8,000 tonnes of material has been removed from the site of the future hospital, with more than 80% being recycled. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Despite insufficient snow for skiing and snowboarding, Cardrona Alpine Resort had a soft opening on Saturday. The ski field's gondolas were operating and restaurants open for any sightseers who had travelled up from the foggy valley floor to enjoy the sunshine and even a little bit of early snow.
Due to insufficient snow, skiers and snowboarders weren't invited when Cardrona Ski Field opened to the public over the weekend, but people were still welcome to explore the field in the bright sunlight.
I'm from Brisbane, originally from Holland, came here to Cardrona to see some snow. But unfortunately, there's not much snow yet.
Down on the valley floor around Wanaka, it was gloomy and overcast, thanks to an inversion layer that's been there for most of the week, making the trip up to Cardrona all the more positive for those working on the field.
Yeah, we've got a thick layer of valley fog down here called an inversion layer. I think it's been there for a solid week now, and it's sort of blocking the sun from reaching the town. So it's good to get up to Cardrona and get some sun, get some vitamin D.
I like the fog, and I like the fact that I have to work hard to see the sunlight. So I'm a big fan because, you know, if you climb up, you get the sun, and if you stay down, then you're sad. So get outside, do some exercise, and make yourself happy.
Yeah, when you're coming out of that blueness to the orangeness of the sun is great. Yeah, definitely a big change of mood.
Yeah, it's nice.
Cardrona is hoping to be open for skiers by this weekend and Treble Cone by the end of next week. In Wanaka, the South Today.
A plan to relocate a historic cottage to a site at Dunedin's Gasworks Museum has been held up again. Dunedin Heritage campaigner Anne Barsby saved this 19th century workers' cottage from demolition by buying it with her own money 8 years ago. It's currently located at a City Council park, while Barsby has sought resource consent for it to be added to the Gasworks Museum. But the discovery of a historic stormwater easement across the museum site has held up the move. The City Council is now working with the neighbouring Countdown supermarket to determine whether the stormwater easement is still required. Low-level Dunedin offenders are being offered the opportunity to pay their debt to victims and the community through an iwi-led community process. A new scheme has been launched blending tikanga Māori with restorative justice practices.
Police and community leaders gathered at Dunedin's Otako Marae for the start of a new initiative that uses a community panel to deal with low-level offenders, rather than having them go through the courts.
The panel range from CEOs, retired people, social workers, business owners. We've even got a doctor, a psychologist. Yeah, people that are just really genuinely interested in the community.
It's aimed at keeping people who are guilty of low-level offending, such as common assault, shoplifting, willful damage and disqualified driving, from clogging up the often impersonal courtrooms.
It helps a raft of things. It can help the participant who's offended, because for sometimes they've committed a harm but they don't have a voice, and to get their voice across to be able to talk to the victim, whether it be apologising or giving them reparation, but having a voice rather than going through the court where you genuinely don't have a voice.
Using Maori values, the Dunedin-based program is one of now 17 across the country, and despite its Maori roots, is available to people of all ethnicities to get their lives back on track.
It's definitely something that we've been doing for generations, and so this is natural. This is our passion, looking after our young people that come through, because they can make one mistake, but by able to fix that and to reduce the harm to the community, yeah, it's a really good kaupapa, and I'm really excited about our mahi that we're doing.
Offenders who appear before the panel must create a plan that includes actions they have to complete and conditions they must follow. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, a Dunedin Music Festival has been hailed a success and curlers slide into Naseby. Ka kite a kōrnei.
Inside are all sorts of innovations from all over China.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We've opened another pop-up store in Invercargill. It's for a limited time. We're in D Street, 201, right beside the Lone Star. Come and check us out. We've got some fantastic deals for you. We've got moleskins, we've got every sort of shirt, worn ones, work ones, business, merino knitwear, jeans, trousers, you name it, the list goes on. It's such a big deal. Come and see us.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Alex Campbell Menswear, pop-up store, D Street, Invercargill.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
You're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer. You owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
What have you got?
Okay. Chicks World, party time, excellent.
Love it! Chicks World! Chicks World! Right.
Hoki mai anō. Venues across Dunedin rocked to the sounds of many bands over the weekend, but the inaugural Music for the People Festival showcased a particularly broad cross-section of the city's musicians at two very different venues.
Dunedin surf punk legends Catharticus had the honour of opening up the Music for the People Music Festival on Friday night. The first of two shows was at Starters Bar in North Dunedin and featured a wide cross-section of Dunedin-based musicians. Musician and event coordinator, known around town as Person Will, is pleased with how the weekend went.
It went really well, and all of the artists were really stoked. We're really stoked with being involved and getting to just be a part of that experience.
Following Friday's event, a show kicked off at St Paul's Anglican Cathedral in the Octagon, 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon. Musician and singing tutor Molly Devine was accompanied by Maddie Parkins-Craig on drums for their set on Friday. Mosgiel band Saurian were amongst Friday's generally more rockier lineup than Saturday's event.
And we are also searching for appropriate spaces to do this stuff, and so having it in the cathedral, it kind of makes a statement.
On Saturday, Abby Fleur was amongst a host of performers, making full use of the excellent acoustics in one of Dunedin's most historic buildings. Punters at St Paul were happy with how the day progressed, including the first person through the door who stayed for the whole show.
First day today, and it's been an absolutely fantastic day, best day ever. I'm just so grateful we could come, and we just want to keep music in Dunedin. It's been great.
Person Will hopes the event can inspire civic leaders to see live music as a priority for Dunedin.
We need performing spaces, but we also need rehearsal spaces which aren't at risk of getting shut down or pulled from underneath us because of more important developments in the CBD. Vibrancy is important, and the council has a responsibility to protect and grow that as part of its governing roles.
He says there's some chance a Music for the People type festival will happen again in some way, shape or form. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Curlers from across the country descended on Naseby for the national championships recently, which were held at the Central Otago Town's indoor ice rink. The event gave selectors a chance to start thinking about who might represent New Zealand in the Pacific Asia Curling Championships late this year.
Naseby's indoor curling rink was the ideal place for 7 men's teams and 3 women's teams from as far afield as Auckland to vie it out in the National Curling Championships.
People are happy to be here. We're really lucky in New Zealand, as everybody knows, that we're able to hold these types of events. And the play's been good so far. You know, over the next 24 hours, the sort of cream will probably start to rise to the top and we'll have a better idea, but we're very lucky. We've got great ice techs, we've got great conditions. You know, it should be a super event.
National curling coach and selector Peter de Boer says this competition plays a role in selecting a national team for the Pacific Asia Curling Championships set for later this year.
We use this as part of the selection process. So there's a number of selectors. They'll be looking at the athletes this weekend, considering that alongside other events and trainings that we've had, and then that'll inform who we select essentially. De
Boer says the sport is growing in New Zealand with new indoor rinks popping up around the country.
It's obviously a minority sport. We'd love it to be bigger, but you know, we've got an amazing facility here in Naseby. We've had record numbers up in Auckland, you know, coming in and having a go. We've got a huge bunch of school kids down in Dunedin playing, and we've just had a new ice rink open in Alexandra where we've got 2 curling lanes of ice. So yeah, I'd say we're in pretty good shape. It's good.
The 4-day event included junior Olympians, former Olympians and World Championship representatives. In Naseby, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, we check in on Dunedin's club rugby scene and we take a look at the early week's weather. Hei kōkua aki nei.
What have you got? Okay. Chicks World, Party Town, excellent.
Love it! Chicks World!
Chicks World!
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We've opened another pop-up store in Invercargill. It's for a limited time. We're in D Street, 201, right beside the Lone Star. Come and check us out. We've got some fantastic deals for you. We've got moleskins, we've got every sort of shirt, worn ones, work ones, business, merino knitwear, jeans, trousers, you name it, the list goes on. It's such a big deal. Come and see us.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Alex.
Inside are all sorts of innovations from all over China.
Hoki Mai Anō. Southern Rugby Football Club beat Dunedin 32-10 in a game held at Dunedin's Bathgate Park on Saturday. Rugby aficionado Paul Dwyer had the chance to speak to the winning team's goal kicker, Obi Samate, about the game.
We've just witnessed a pretty good game here, well certainly from the Southern perspective. The score at half time was 20-10 to Southern. They held Dunedin scoreless in the second half, and I've got Obi Samate with me, the wee fullback who scored I think 2 tries, kicked a couple of conversions, we might have kicked 4 conversions, and kicked a couple of penalties. Mate, that was a pretty good performance, especially from your forward pack.
Yeah, it was a pretty good performance today from the forward pack. We needed, our backline can't do what we did today if we didn't get front foot ball, and we haven't really got a dominant performance, and we needed that today, and forwards fronted up, and that's what we needed.
So mate, it was crucial today because let's be honest, I mean if you didn't win today you probably weren't going to make the top 6, so that was a very good win, especially to grab the 5 points as well.
Yeah, exactly. If we lost today we would have been struggling, that would have been our season done, and we had to rely on other results, but yeah, like you said, if we needed that result today, and now we can move on.
Thanks mate, good work. And the final score here, Southern over Dunedin, 32-10. So just on behalf of Liquorland, that's it from Rugby Chat, and we'll be back with you again next week.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. Wrecking crews have approached the halfway point, demolishing the former Cadbury factory. Cardrona ski field open to the public, but not for skiing or snowboarding. And community leaders met at Otako Marae to launch a new justice program for first-time low-level offenders. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, we welcome editor Barry Stewart. Kia ora, Barry.
Hello, Simon. A rather sad note, Sir Eon Edgar, Queenstown-based investor and businessman, has died at the age of 76. He'd been fighting pancreatic cancer since late last year. So we've got reaction to that. Deputy Prime Minister Grant Robertson, and in his capacity as Minister of Sport, and Queenstown Lakes District Mayor Jim Bolt are among those who have offered their tribute. So we'll have more on that in the paper tomorrow. About 220 homes in Alexandra and Cromwell have been identified as discharging stormwater into the wastewater system, so that's a significant issue there. Yeah. We also have a story about a former paramedic who tended an injured man in Mosgiel for an hour and a half, and there was still no sign of an ambulance, so the former paramedic took the man to the hospital himself. And he is upset, not with the St John paramedics, who he has a lot of respect for, but just the crazy system that they work under. So that's an ongoing story, and we've had a few of those over the period. ID Fashion Week, coming up this weekend. Otago Polytechnic interns are battling around the clock to get the show up and running for the event on Saturday, so we have a little story on that.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Barry.
Thank you.
And time now for a look at tomorrow's weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the sun view, one that's rather diminished, a misty day in Dunedin. Looking at the situation, a low pressure trough splays over the central South Island tomorrow, pushing cold southeasterly airflow through southern districts with rain and cloud. Conditions ease only slightly for Wednesday. Starting at the northwest of the South Island, where it's raining in Westport and Greymouth, both on 14 degrees. Moving to the northeast, only partial cloud for Nelson and Blenheim on 15 and 17 degrees respectively. And moving down to Canterbury, Kaikoura, the only centre in the south to welcome sun on 16 degrees. Christchurch sees partial cloud on 15 and Ashburton has 13 degrees with showers. Heading to the southern towns, all experiencing the same type of weather with freshening southwesterlies, rain and 8 degrees. To the Central Lakes where Tiano shares that southern weather, freshening southwesterlies, rain and 8. Alexandra the same temperatures, though the winds should be lighter and rain later on. Wanaka and Queenstown, light winds, showers and 9 degrees each. To the northern towns, light winds across this area. Showers too inland as Twizel and Omarama reach 9 degrees and the rain reaches the coast later on. Timaru and Oamaru both on 11. In Dunedin, low cloud and fog tonight and an overnight low of 8 degrees. Overcast tomorrow with light rain and drizzle most of the day, cold with moderate southwest winds, a high of 10 and a low of 8. And similar weather on Wednesday, heavy cloud, light rain, cold temperatures and southerly winds, a high of 10 and a low of 7 degrees. And to Invercargill, showers and heavy cloud tonight with an overnight low of 7. Overcast tomorrow with rain at times and fresh, gusty, cold southeast winds, a high of 9 and a low of 7. And rains ease to showers on Wednesday with showers clearing later in the day as cold easterly winds ease, a high of 9 and a low of 6 degrees. And that's the news this Monday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Nō reira, kia pai te pō, ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.